I don't like opening windows. I don't like ventilating the room. I don't like letting in fresh air and the sunlight. This episode is my no open window, no fresh air manifesto. Have you noticed that we rarely perceive the smell of our own rooms, but the moment we enter someone else's home, we can easily smell the scent of their space. So when people say, "Oh, your home has your smell," what does that actually mean? To me, it refers to the things you never intended to leave behind, but left behind anyway. The bed you have slept in, the clothes you have worn but not yet washed, the steam lingering between the bathroom and bedroom after a shower, the smell of takeout, dust, skincare products, hair, books, curtains, and all the days you thought had already passed but are actually still sitting in the room. In this sense, the smell of a room is the sediment of a person's way of living. This video is not about perfume, but it is about scent. Let's talk about the smell of our rooms. Firstly, I'd like to admit something. I am not the kind of person who immediately opens the window once I realize the room has a smell. Quite the opposite. I know ventilation is good. I know sunlight, air, and clean sheets all sound healthier, brighter, and more like a normal life. But I resist them. My room is almost always closed off with the blinds and blackout curtains pulled shut. I do not really want natural light to come in, and I do not like large amounts of outside air replacing the air inside. I do not even like freshly washed bed sheets. For many people, the smell of laundry detergent means cleanliness, but for me, it feels a little unfamiliar. It suddenly makes me realize that this bed has just been treated by some public standardized version of cleanliness. For a while, it no longer feels quite like my bed. I prefer my own smell slowly returning to the bedding. Not because I am obsessed with dirtiness and not because I am against cleaning, but because the smell makes me feel safe. This is where I have slept. It has not been diluted by outside air, corrected by sunlight, or renamed by laundry detergent. The smell of a room is actually a reflection of lifestyle. Someone who cooks often will have a warm trace of cooking oil and smoke in their space. Someone who loves laundry and airing out bedding will have the smell of detergent, sunlight, and dry fabric at home. Someone who stays up late may have a room where coffee, electronic device, enclosed air, and exhaustion mix together. Someone who often burns candles or uses home fragrances may have a space with a deliberately managed layering. A person who rarely opens the window will have a room that feels heavier, closer to the skin. At this point, many people may think, then shouldn't you open the window? Shouldn't you ventilate, change the air, let the sunlight in? Yes, I know, but I increasingly feel that opening a window is not an entirely neutral act. It is not simply a hygienic habit. It is also an act of boundary making. When you open the window, outside air enters, sound enters, light enters. You think you're only changing the air, but in fact, you are allowing the external world to participate in the room again. For many people, this is, of course, comfortable. The air starts moving, the room becomes lighter, sunlight enters, everything seems to restart. But for me, opening the window sometimes creates a subtle unease. It feels like suddenly connecting an overly private space to the public outside world. Maybe what I resist is not fresh air itself. What I resist is the feeling that the outside world can enter my space without my permission. And this is especially true regarding natural light. I know natural light is good. It represents the idea that a person should wake up early, be clear-headed, open their life outward, and synchronize with the time of the outside world. But I do not like it, okay? I do not like it, or more accurately, I do not like it entering without permission. Once the blinds and blackout curtains are closed, the room becomes a place less governed by external time. The boundary between morning and afternoon becomes blurred, and the weather loses some of its authority on me. The outside world is still operating, but it can no longer directly command me in my own room. This room no longer fully belongs to daytime, no longer fully belongs to the workday, and no longer fully belongs to that external social rhythm of what you should be doing right now. It is like a cocoon, not a romantic white cocoon. Of course, it's more like an inner space that is slightly dark, slightly thick, and slightly sealed. And here, time does not enter through the window. It grows out of my own body. When I'm hungry, it's mealtime. When I'm sleepy, it is night. When I'm awake, it is daytime. Air, light, and scent do not flow so much. They gather around me, making me feel that I have not been spread open to the world. This also helps explain why I do not like freshly washed sheets. And freshly washed sheets are, of course, clean, but to me, that kind of cleanliness can feel too unfamiliar. The smell of laundry detergent is a very socialized smell. It tells me this object has been cleaned, has met a certain public standard, and has been stripped of the traces of my bodily use. But a bed is not a public object. A bed is one of the least presentable places in a person's life. You sleep in it, turn over, sweat, shed hair, dream, scroll on your phone, and escape the world. A bed does not receive an image of you. It receives the state in which the body truly becomes bare and sinks downward. So when the sheets have just been washed, I feel that the bed temporarily changes from my bed into a clean piece of fabric. What I like is precisely that process of being marked again. I like my own smell slowly returning to the pillow, to my pajama, to the air of the room. That smell may not be something others would praise, and it may not fit any fantasy of refined living, but it confirms something for me. This space has not pushed me out. This is my space. It allows me to leave traces. That matters to me because so often the outside world asks us to continuously empty ourselves. You must wash yourself clean. You must organize yourself, cover the smell of your body, hide your emotions, process your exhaustion, and fold away the less presentable parts of your life. You must appear in a state suitable for being seen in the outside world. But a room does not have to be like that, right? At least my room does not. A room can allow a person to be less fresh and less bright. It can allow scent to settle, air to sink in, and a person to temporarily avoid updating themselves into a more proper, fresher, more daylight-friendly version. The smell of home tells you you do not have to be immediately cleaned away here. This is also why entering someone else's room can feel a bit offending. To enter a person's room is not only to enter a physical space, you are entering a life that the other person has not completely tidied away. The living room can be social, the dining table can be hospitable, the entryway can be polite, but the bedroom, the wardrobe, the space under the desk, behind the curtains, these places are closer to a person's backstage. Vision can be performed. Before friends visit, you can take out the trash, make the bed, adjust the lighting to a flattering brightness, but scent is difficult to perform completely in a short time. It stays in fabric, in corners of the air, in places you do not realize. So when you enter the room of someone close to you, what you smell is not only home fragrances or shampoo, you smell how this person maintains their life, whether whether they often open the window, whether they have just showered, whether they often eat in bed, whether they pile clothes on a chair, there is always an indescribable connection between the smell of a room and intimacy, because scent bypasses language. It does not ask what you want to present. It only records what you have actually repeated. A rented room makes this problem even more obvious. Many people feel this when they move into a new rental. The room is clearly empty, but it does not feel like theirs yet. There is a residual from the previous person. It may be the smell of wood inside a cabinet mixed with old clothes, or dampness in the mattress that cannot be washed away, or the smell from the kitchen drain, or the life absorbed into walls, curtains, and floors. That smell is uncomfortable not simply because it smells bad. More precisely, it reminds you that this place once belonged to someone else. An empty room is not truly empty. It has only been visually emptied. Smell is still holding the places for the previous person. So after moving, we clean, we ventilate, we wipe cabinets, wash curtains, burn candles, change mattresses. So this is for hygiene, comfort, and removing odors. But on a deeper level, it is a declaration. This is my space now. So I do not want to simplify this into you should ventilate or you should not ventilate. In real life, of course, we need cleaning, we need health, air movement, and we need the removal of genuinely bad smells. None of that need to be denied. But some people's preference for enclosed space is not simply laziness or sloppiness. Sometimes it expresses a very deep sense of boundaries. A person who does not want to open the window may feel that the room needs to preserve continuity. Yesterday's self, today's self, the self that just woke up, the self that has not yet tidied up. All of them can remain in the same air. For some people, this continuity means safety. So why does a room smell like a person? Because scent is more honest than we imagine. It records your way of living and it records your boundaries. Perhaps this is how the smell of home is formed. It is not one specific fragrance, but the result of your body, habits, time, and boundaries slowly setting into space. You cannot smell it yourself, not because it does not exist, but because you have already moved into it. It is no longer an external smell, it has become part of your life. So when someone says, your home has your smell, I now feel that this sentence is not merely an evaluation, it is almost a confirmation. It says, this room has been occupied by you. It has begun to resemble you. It has remembered you through air. And that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.